Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Mr. Coolvault, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use conversion factors to convert a magnitude from one unit to a different unit. So let's get into this. So in my previous video I talked about what conversion factors are, and I showed you an example of how to use it. In this video I'm going to show you a couple more examples where you might use where you're going to need to use more than one conversion factor to convert. So here I have my two problems, and I have some conversion factors for these problems. You're going to need to know your conversion factors. Depending on your instructor, you may need to memorize some of the conversion factors, or some of them are going to be given to you. So here I have some givens, and we're going to use these to convert. So let's get into this. So my first problem is I'm asked to convert 176 yards into centimeters. And so I'm given here the equality: 1 meter is equal to 1.094 yards, and 1 centimeter is equal to 1/100th of a meter. You could use 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. That's the same thing. I just prefer this one. So we're going to go ahead and go with that one. So you got to use whatever you're given, and this is what we're given. So let's get into this. So I start with 176 yards. That's what I'm given, and I'm trying to find centimeters. So the first thing in any problem, whether it's a short problem or a long, word problem, is one, pull out the conversion factors. Whatever conversion factors you're given for the problem, or maybe in the word problem, they give you relationships. Anytime you have a relationship between one unit and another, that is going to be a conversion factor. So you're going to want to pull that out, set it to the side, write it as an equality, so that way you know this is equal to this, and you can use that later in the problem if you need to. It's not always the case that whatever they give you, you need to use, but you should at least pull it out of the problem. The second thing you want to do is figure out where you need to begin and where you're going to end. And the problems like these, they pretty much tell you where to begin and where to end. If it's a word problem, look for it in the question. The question is usually going to have where you're going to begin and where you're going to end. And so remember this also: the beginning of the question is the end of your problem, where you're going, right? The rest of it is somewhere else in the question usually. So where you're beginning is some other piece of information that they're giving you, and that's usually, again, found in the question. Not always, but usually. Okay, so in this problem here, they're really telling us where to begin and where to end. They want us to begin with 176 yards, and they want us to end in centimeters. So what do? The first thing I do is I take my 176 yards, and I'm going to put it over 1. You can use what is called the line method of conversion factors, or you could do the times with the line. I'll show the line method here for those of you who may not be familiar with it. So you just draw a line, and then you have this vertical line, and here is your time. So you're going to multiply, and then what you're going to write next is your conversion factor. So I have yards. I need to get rid of yards. Remember, when you're setting up your conversion factor, you're setting it up to get rid of the unit on top. That means that whatever unit is on top here, that unit has to be on the bottom of the following conversion factor. So I need yards down here. So I have an equality with yards to meters. So I got to use that. So since I have yards here, I'm going to put this on the bottom. 1.094 goes on the bottom. 1.094, and then yards goes on the bottom. And then the other side, 1 meter, the other side of the equality goes on top. So 1 meter goes on top. Yards cancels out. I have meter. Am I done? No, because remember, I'm only finished when I have the unit I'm being asked to convert to. I'm being asked to convert to centimeters, so I don't have centimeters yet, so I got to keep going. So I do another conversion factor. So I got to extend my line here, put a line there, and I'm going to multiply by another conversion factor. I have meters. I need to get to centimeters. I've already used this equality, so I'm not going to use that one again. So the only other one I have is this one. So now I'm going to use this one. I have meters on top, so I'm going to put 10 to the negative 2 meters on the bottom. So 10 to the negative 2 meters on the bottom. And then that means the other side goes on the top, 1 centimeter. So meters cancels out. I have centimeters on top. Guess what? I'm done. Once you get the unit you want on top, no more conversion factors are needed. So now all you need to do is multiply and divide. So I'm going to multiply by everything on top. I'm going to divide by everything on the bottom, plug it in my calculator, and what do I get? 160.87571. What did I get? 87571. 571 centimeters. Now, that's the answer. For those of you who want to know how to figure out the significant figures, how many digits am I allowed to keep here? What you do is, since we're multiplying and dividing, you need to remember the rule for multiplication and division. And so when we're talking about when we are trying to determine how many sig figs to keep or how many digits to keep in our answer, the rule for multiplication and division is that your answer here has to have the same number of sig figs as the number of sig figs in your least precise measure, or the one that has the least number of sig figs in the measurement. So what do we have? First thing you want to do is eliminate the exact conversion factors. So here, this is an exact relationship because it's true by definition. 1 centimeter is defined to be 10 to the negative 2 meters. That's an exact relationship. We ignore that. That has like an infinite number of sig figs. Ignore it. Now, this relationship here is not exact. We have meters to yards. So anytime you have two systems, English and metric, together, that's going to be a measurement. It's not exact. There's one exception to that. That would be 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. That's defined to be the case. Other than that, not exact. So here we have 4 sig figs, right? Ignore ones. We don't care about ones. So this has 4 sig figs. And then the measurement we're given is also a measurement, right? So that is 3 sig figs. So remember, the rule is that your answer should have the same number of sig figs as the measurement that has the least number of sig figs. Well, this one has 4. This one has 3. 3 is less than 4, so that means that your answer should only have 3 sig figs. So you count 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to keep this one, this one, this one. So I cut it off after the 0. This 8 here, remember, don't forget rounding. Since I have an 8, that means I round the 0 to a 1. So 161 centimeters would be my final answer. Okay, that's problem 1. Problem 2. Convert 1.8 quarts to cubic centimeters. Again, I'm going to start with what I'm given. So I have 1.8 quarts. I'm going to put QT for that. I'm going to put it over 1. And then I'm going to do my first conversion factor. I need to convert quarts to something. So I got to use a conversion factor with the quarts. The only one I have here is that one. So I'm going to use that one. I have quarts on top, so I want to put quarts on the bottom. So I'm going to put the 1.057 quarts on the bottom. 1.057 quarts on the bottom and 1 liter on top. Quarts cancels out. Now I have liters. Am I done? No. Why? Because I'm asked for cubic centimeters. I have liters. I don't have the unit I need on top, so I keep going. I need another conversion factor. So I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to extend this, draw my line, and now I need to convert liters to something. So here I have milliliters and liters. So I've already used this one, so check that off. I'm not going to use it again, but I have liters here. So I can convert liters to milliliters. Let's go ahead and do that. Excuse me. So I have liters on top, so I'm going to put 10 to the negative 3 liters on the bottom. So 10 to the negative 3 liters. And so that's going to cancel out liters and liters. So 1 milliliter goes on the top. So 1 milliliter, liters cancels out. And now I have milliliters on the top. Am I done? No. I want cubic centimeters. I keep going until I get cubic centimeters on the top. So I got to keep going. So I got to do another conversion factor. And so I use this one. So I do have this here. I have 1 milliliter is equal to 1 centimeter cubed. So I can use that to convert to cubic centimeters. So I'm going to put milliliters on the bottom. So 1 milliliter goes on the bottom. And 1 centimeter cubed goes on top. Milliliters cancels out. I have cubic centimeters on the top. That's exactly what I want. I am now finished. No more conversion factors. So at this point, it's just a matter of multiplying and dividing. I'm going to write the answer down here. So I multiply by everything on top. I divide by everything on the bottom. When I do that, I get, what I get? 1,702. So this is, I'll put it down here. 1,702 points. What did I get? 93.28. 93.28. And that's going to be centimeters cubed. So here's my calculated answer. So for those of you who don't need to know about sig figs, you can stop at this point, but keep going. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. But if you want to know how many sig figs I keep or how do I record this answer in the proper number of sig figs, I do the same thing as I did up here. So again, the rule is that when you multiply and divide, your answer should have the same number of sig figs as the measurement with the least number of sig figs. So again, you want to eliminate the things that are true by definition. So 1 centimeter cubed is equal to 1 milliliter is true by definition. That's an exact relationship. So we get rid of that. 1 milliliter is equal to 10 to the negative 3 liters. Again, we have metric volume, metric volume. That's going to be exact, true by definition. Here we have metric to English. That's going to be a measure. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sig figs. So that's 4. And the original measurement we're given, 1.8, is a measure. So we have 2 sig figs here. 2 is less than 4. So our answer can only have 2 sig figs. So what do? So I keep the 1, the 7, and that's it. Everything gets dropped off. So I got to stop here. Now, do I just write 17 and call it a day? No, that would be really bad rounding, right? 17, here I have 1,702. I have 1,702, and then I round that to 17. That's ridiculous. So what do you do, Mr. Koval? Well, I'll tell you. If you are dropping zeros that are at the end of the number but come before the decimal point, you got to replace those with zeros. Anything that comes after the decimal point, you just forget. You don't have to worry about. So these two spaces I have to fill in with zeros. And there I have my number. But you're like, wait, Mr. Kowalt, there's 4 sig figs, not 2. That is incorrect. Here, these zeros are not significant because I don't have a decimal point. So the 1 and the 7 are significant, but not the 2 zeros. Now, if I put a decimal point there, now those zeros are significant and I would have 4 sig figs. But I don't want that. I only want 2 sig figs. So I am not going to put the decimal point. So this is actually 2 sig figs. And so my answer would be 1700. Let me include the unit. So my answer would finally be 1700 centimeters cubed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you use conversion factors to convert. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned from this video, if this was like an awesome video, or even if it wasn't an awesome video, but you learned from it, please like the video, hit that like button, share the video with your friends. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell. When you do, make sure you click all so you can be notified by all the videos I put out. And finally, put a comment down below in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Ask me questions. If there's any videos you want me to cover, anything you want me to cover in a video, let me know. I would love to do that for you. Finally, thanks for joining me and have a great day.